Well, coming off the terrible Game 7 for the Phoenix Suns, we are joined by Amin Elhassan of Meadowlark Media and Sirius XM Radio. And Amin, I'll just start with a broad question. What the hell happened the last two games for the Phoenix Suns?
Oh man, that's a great question. I mean, Game 6, I think we can understand what happened. Dallas Mavericks, obviously, their backs against the wall. They're playing at home. They played well at home throughout the playoffs and throughout this series as well. So I don't think we were surprised about that at that point. Game 7 is the shocker. Game 7 was the one that really, I don't think any of us saw coming. First of all, Phoenix has been so dominant at home all year long. And just, we were prepared for a world where they wouldn't win. I don't think we were prepared for a world where they would get absolutely annihilated and embarrassed. To have Luka Doncic match the number of points he scored in the entire first half by himself, I never thought I would see this Suns team struggle that mightily offensively. And kudos to the Dallas Mavericks for having an excellent defensive game plan, particularly with regards to Chris Paul. I thought they really kind of cheat sheeted off of what New Orleans did in the first round of wearing them down and picking them up full court and being kind of a constant irritant in his side. And they took it to a higher level with better personnel. But still, if you're asking me to explain how the Suns lost by 30 some odd points, that one I can't explain. I can explain how they lost. I can't explain losing that poorly.
Mm-hmm. You've obviously been close to the franchise for quite some time. You've seen some really good, you've seen some really bad. Mm-hmm. Where does this rank in terms of disappointment, in terms of shock?
Yeah. Midway through the season, I said very unequivocally, this is the best Phoenix Suns team ever. And that's better than the teams that I worked for with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. It's better than the team that Charles took to the NBA Finals, Charles Barkley. It's better than the teams of the late 80s that Cotton Fitzsimmons coached and was going to the conference finals and losing to the Lakers. It's better than Alvin Adams and Dick Van Arsdale's Suns of the 70s that went to the finals. I mean, this was, to me, the best incarnation of Phoenix Suns basketball, because I just thought they checked every box. They had elite play from their stars, but they were deep. Their role players weren't just stagnant guys waiting to get past the ball, as they sat around the perimeter, but they were, dynamic, and they moved. They defended extremely well across the board. They're well coached. The GM is good. I like everything about them. Save obviously what's happening up top with lawsuits, with your ownership, but everything else about them was just an A, and they had the most wins in franchise history and the most wins in the league, and I just felt like, yes, this is a team that, I'm not saying they're going to win a championship, but they did this better and more consistently than any of the ones that came before them. So not to lose in the playoffs, because again, not these are good teams too, as Charles likes to point out. Those guys are trying to win too. But to lose like that at home in a Game 7 is, my mind instantly went at the most disappointing moments of my career working for the Suns in the playoffs, and I thought about losing Game 5 in LA in 2010. I thought about losing Game 1 in San Antonio in 2008. I thought obviously about the hip check game we won, but losing that series. And they all seem to be losses where, there you go, but for the grace of God, we could have won that series. If Ron Artest, if Okobe doesn't airball a three-pointer, if he catches rim, we probably win Game 5. We go on and win the series in 6 and move on, right? If Robert Horry doesn't hip check Steve, we probably win that series in 2007. In 2008 even, we lost in 5, and I tell people all the time, Game 1, we lost in overtime. Game 2 was a close game. Game 3, they blew us out. Game 4, we blew them out. Game 5, we lost at the end of the game. So even though we lost in 5, there was still a there go, but for the grace of God, we could have won that series. Mm-hmm. Blown out in a Game 7 is, I can't imagine it. It feels like this is one of the biggest disappointments. I guess losing in 95 to Mario Elie and the kiss of death, because they were up 3-1 in that series, and because you're playing Game 7 at home, and because they were up in that game and the Rockets made a comeback. That has to be the only one I think that rivals that gut punch of, oh, we were supposed to win this one and we didn't.
Suns make the finals last year, run basically the same squad back for this year. And you mentioned all the accomplishments this year. Moving forward now, is this a team where you have to have some significant roster change, or are you comfortable if you're a Sun having the same squad, try it for a third time?
Yeah, I think one of the things that has to be accepted now, and I know Chris Paul played great all season long, but now this is the second postseason in a row, and I believe the same thing kind of happened to him in Oklahoma City, where Chris Paul body betrays him. And, we often think about father time as being this thing that, oh, he used to be good, now he's not good. He can't make shots. He turns it over all the time. But more realistically, it's like, no, he just can't stay healthy. When guys keep getting hurt, that's not bad luck. He's 37 and has a lot of miles on him. And so the question becomes, how do is Cameron Payne and Aaron Holiday and Elfrid Payton, are they enough of a backup point guard core that can allow you to significantly reduce the load on Chris Paul, where we're playing him like the Mavericks played Dirk later in his career, like the Spurs transitioned Tim Duncan later in his career, where it's like less minutes, less of a focus. This is Kawhi Leonard's team. You're just here to be excellent in these pockets. Can you do that with Chris Paul? I believe you can, but then you say to yourself, well, are these the guys that can help us do that? Maybe not quite good enough. And how do you kind of upgrade? This is where hindsight becomes 2020. You say, well, if instead of taking Jalen Jones in that draft, if you take Tyrese Halliburton, now you feel okay with reducing Chris Paul's load. But alack and alas, that's not what happened. But you have to find a way to find that guy. Someone, I guess, young enough and energetic enough where they're also accepting that, hey, the keys aren't going to be turned over to me immediately. I have to wait this thing out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we appreciate the time and the insight. Plenty of questions now for the Phoenix Suns. They'll be asked quite a bit over the next couple months, but thanks for visiting those at first glance here with us.
Thanks a lot, Jordan.